Welcome back to the second part of our Q&A slash discussion debate thing. That's what we should call it. Q&A inaugural discussion debate thing. I, of course, am Patrick Young, and Joe Venuto is right here. Let's get on with it.
Okay. Next question has to do with Shelton Benjamin. How do you feel about Shelton Benjamin? Do you think he could have been a main event player? I'm assuming that means the original version.
Okay.
Well, also, Isaiah believes he should have went to Raw with Chad Gable, former heel stable with Jason Jordan. Do you think the stable over?
Do I think? Alright, well, the first part...
It says a triple.
Yeah, it's like three questions in one.
Yeah.
I'll start with the first one. Do I feel that Shelton Benjamin...
Actually, first.
Or how do I feel about Shelton Benjamin? I think he's a really good athlete. I think he's capable of putting on a hell of a good match. Do I think he could have been a main event player? In the ring, he definitely could hang. However, the problem with Shelton for me has always been his character and his promo work. Neither one has been terribly strong for Shelton. Especially in a company like WWE or how WWE run things now, where you have to have a long in-ring promo to be a main eventer almost. That, I think, dealt a major blow against him. I've also heard stories before where he wasn't necessarily... Like, he would go out there and he'd like to put on good matches, but he wasn't necessarily passionate about moving from that. Being more than just a good worker. So do I think he could main eventer? I think if you put him in the ring, he could deliver. But I think there were things that he wasn't necessarily strong in promo ability or personality or charismatics, things like that. But he could have definitely hung in the ring, I think. So the next question was...
He should win the role with Chad Gable and former heel stable with Jason Jordan. And do you think the stable could work?
I think... I'll start with this. I think the stable could have possibly worked. And it probably would have given Gable a little bit more of something to do on Raw. However, both guys would have to wait for Jason Jordan.
Right.
For the stable to be complete. However, I think Shelton is in the perfect role he's in right now. Where you can literally take him and have him in the mid-card feud and put on good matches. If you turn the face, you can have him have good matches with Andrade. Him and Jeff Hardy, 2 months ago? A month ago? I thought had a great couple matches on SmackDown. I think he's in a pretty good spot. I don't think he's ever going to rise above maybe an upper mid-carder.
Right.
But at his age, I don't think he should be asking for more, to be honest.
For the sake of simplicity, I want to assume that this was about Shelton's original run with the company, rather than the second run, which has seen Shelton as much more of an older name that you know this off at some point. The original run felt like he was on the brink of breaking through to the main event, and he got very close to doing just that more than once. I was a big Shelton fan for a long time and wanted to see what he could have done in the main event scene. Not gonna lie to you. He had all the tools they need with a great amateur wrestling background, and also looking some charisma. I'm not sure he had the talking abilities to become a top name, but he wasn't the worst in the world by any stretch. That sounds like quite a package, and all he needed was some great performances. They beat Triple H twice in a row, including a pin, and went to a draw in their third match. That was followed by winning the Intercontinental for Chris Jericho and the Instant Classic with Shawn Michaels on Monday Night Raw in May 2005, the one with the springboard into the silver thing. And that was a sign that he was ready to become a new hot star. I don't know what was. After losing the Intercontinental title at 244 days, the 8th longest reign ever currently, the longest since 1998, and a reign that has been surpassed in the 14 years since it happened. Oh, you do that?
Yeah.
You saw the longest reign of the last 14 years?
Yeah, I didn't know that. For some reason, I was just randomly thinking that one day, like who has the longest reign or whatever, and I looked up the Intercontinental title one day.
Benjamin will lose a streak and that because that's just what you do in the movie. He's giving a mama, played by a rather large comedian who kept talking about how Benjamin needed to make him proud.
Shelley.
Faye Vidal.
There's a freaking here.
I guess I remember her name. Then he died as pure gold, then comes to the gold standard to exactly the results she was. It's like it refused doing nothing, safe for total run the mid-card. Benjamin was released and did well enough on the Indies as a tag wrestler. And in Japan as a single star to get back to WWE. In other words, in my opinion, Benjamin was unable to WWE building someone up, having no idea what to do with them. Because they weren't going to move up to the main event scene and then sabotage his career with two stupid ideas that weren't going to go over. What he says to do when his mom is to start appearing and his whole gimmick is built around the collar of his hair. No one was able to make that work, and it's hard to blame Benjamin for something like that. So with all that, could he be a major point for WWE? Yeah, I think so. With all the tools they had at his disposal and the fans like him as they did, there was no reason to fit him club off. Was he ready to do it right then? Of course not, but there aren't many people who are ready to do something that big as just a fifth base. Benjamin was pushed very well over his younger years, and should have been a big star at WWE. Will rather go with comedy. And then serious push at times, and as usual, it was a disaster. As for modern Benjamin, this is probably as high levels he's going to get. He turns 43 years old this week, or next week. And while he's still one of the best athletes and he's in the best shape in the promotion, I'm not sure what else he can do. The idea of a shooter amateur wrestling stable is interesting, though. And it will certainly be better to have a Gable job and let them right enjoy and try to make people care about him. It's certainly not a bad idea. It's not like there's anything else going on at the moment. Out of these three, which WWE superstars having the best year, or having the best run in 2018 rather? Seth Rollins, AJ Styles, or Braun Strowman?
Well, out of the three, I would definitely say probably the lesser of all of them would be Braun Strowman for me. I think he came off just a hot run last year and even into the year before. I just don't think his matches are as strong this year. He's starting to plateau. Like we've seen him do a ton of crazy stuff, and now just sort of little things like, oh yeah, he's strong. He can knock things over. There are glimmers of hope with him. Like when he started doing I guess for the lack of a better term, the train running around the ring.
Oh yeah,
shoulder blocking. I thought that stuff was cool. But I think for me, he's definitely the lesser of the three. So out of the two, Seth and AJ.
No, really, I'm not sure these are three. Isaiah thinks are your best, or he was just picking three of the top stars right now.
Yeah.
Just to clarify.
Depending on the wording and on what you consider it, I actually, if you do consider NXT WWE superstars, I actually probably would have said Ciampa or Gargano as my top. But going by these three, for me the top one would probably be Seth Rollins. I think he's just been on another level. Like it's the Seth that we got before his before he tore stuff in his knee. Like he's just been like the same. He's been back to his quickness practically since he reunited with Dean.
Yeah.
He's back to the same quickness. He's back to the same agility. He's having great matches almost on a weekly basis. And sort of, it's almost a knock against AJ, even though it's not. Like I completely understand it. Why he doesn't have a match weekly for multiple reasons. One, he's not exactly the youngest guy on the roster. Two, second, he's special. And I get the point in saving AJ. But however, that's to Rollins' advantage. He literally just had a great match on Raw with Drew McIntyre. He's had this month. He's had great matches with Dolph Ziggler. Before the day before that, he had a great match with Elias. And before that, he had great matches with Miz. I think he's just been on an incredible roll since last summer, and this year it looks like it's continuing. And I hope it does continue more for him.
I know this one can go places. The main thing here is how strong the three of them have been, albeit in different ways. You could make a very legitimate argument for all three of them. It's a little bit different style, which could be considered better than the rest. There are different ways to go about being the best, and I'm going to break it out with different strengths. Seth Rollins, if there's anyone who's doing more of a role in the main roster than Rollins, I can't think of them at the moment. He's having great matches with almost anyone he's out there with. Even getting a good match out of Jinder Mahal a few weeks back. The Roll match gave him the Intercontinental title, which he lost to Dolph Ziggler. For reasons I hope I'm starting to comprehend now, that seems like hopefully Seth's going to the main event. Otherwise, I'm not sure why they did it, but not complaining. Dominance Chamber is just that. The thing with Rollins is that he's become a true to loss. It's no longer about will he have a very good match, but how great can he make this one. Rollins has turned back up to the level like I said he was at before his knee injury in 2015, and that's a very valuable place to be. Not many people in the world are as good as Rollins when he's on his game, and he hasn't been kneeling like this for a long time. Now, if even in his career. The main benefit of what Rollins is doing, though, is the fire in him. It's like he's out there to prove something. When you wrestle that kind of drive intensity, there's very little that's going to be able to hold you back. It makes me want to see how far he can do on this run, and if he stays healthy. The sky's the limit for just how good it can become again.
Yeah. It's hard to burn it down when you already blew the roof off the place.
AJ, I don't think there's any secret to the fact that AJ is not the best in the world right now. He's one of the most consistent performers WWE has seen in a very long time. And I don't remember the last time he had a big match. Not to beat a horrible wrestler of a horse, but he carried Mahal to the best matches of his career.
Yeah.
Like I said, not to be a horrible wrestler, of course. And
not to be the dead horse of a horrible wrestler.
That's the minor miracle in his own right.
Yeah. And
more proof of how excellent AJ really is. The other benefit of AJ is he can put into the top level, and he can be put into any level of any show, and you're going to get a great performance. There's no one you can put in the ring against and get anything less than good. Put him in the ring and get anything less than good, which allows you to put him in almost any position on the card. Whether it be WWE, Universal, or Intercontinental, United States Tag Team, Women's, whatever. Cruiserweight.
Yes.
He'll be a Better Women's Champion of what is currently running around the main roster with the belts. AJ versus Asuka, sign me up.
AJ versus Charlotte.
Best friends always had the best matches together.
If this was the indie scene, we probably would get that.
Yeah, having AJ around means you're at least guaranteed one brace spot, which is going to help draw some attention to the show. It's so valuable how that one guaranteed match, as it can be quite the breath of fresh air on a weaker show. Which is a case too far off than WWE. And a word of a stack as the roster is, AJ is still SmackDown's ace. You can make him go out, you can make him the go-to guy, and you know exactly what you're going to get. He's been WWE champion for about 8 months now, and can hold the title a good bit longer to the rate it's going. It takes a serious level of trust to keep the title someone that long, and shows just how good AJ can be. He might not have the blow-away match that gets your attention so far this year, but an average AJ match is still better than almost anyone else around the moment. And that's great for the Halloween card.
Yeah.
Another more difficult one. Braun Strowman. This is a little unfair. Strowman hasn't won any titles this year, but what exactly is different from the win? He's too big of a deal to win or even chase their title.
Yeah. And
Brock Lesnar being going to leave him a little more to do than fight random people for whatever reasons there is that week. Or put them in a portable toilet and spend 5 minutes carrying to the stage for a single night. That. But that's another story. Strowman has become an attraction. That's a very valuable thing, though. He has spots that people like to see, and the power game is something that people care about. It's also not like he hasn't won anything. He has picked up the Greatest Royal Rumble and is currently Mr. Money in the Bank. Now, if Lesnar ever actually shows up again, there's a good chance that Strowman becomes Universal Champion by the end of the year.
Probably.
Or to have Roman Reigns beat Lesnar and Strowman in the same night to really make Reigns the big star, which is what those sell for.
the big dog.
As you might be able to tell that I'm not a fan of how Strowman has been booked, and so much of that is his fault. There's much you can do when there's no world title for him, Chase, and he's stuck off from one feud to another while we wait on Lesnar to grace us with his presence. Strowman's stuck in the middle of saying others, and he's done quite a bit from that spot, besides just how impressive he really has been this year so far. I'll roll those down to 7. AJ for me on these 3. I am glad to take AJ though. Just being able to be that consistent and valuable to the show makes him so important and someone you can depend on. The main thing that I see with him is that it's not so much a great role, but rather just who he is. AJ isn't just great right now because he's great all the time. That's something that not a lot of people can say, but he does it better than anyone, making him the best of the 3 options. And the last one, which wrestler's been misused the most by WWE in the last 4 years? I went with a cutoff point 4 years. I was considered the New Year, the night of WrestleMania, so I went with the cutoff point on the night after WrestleMania 30. So from April 7th, 2014.
Okay.
I went with.
The most misused of the last 4 years. I don't really have a list like Joe does, but I do sort of have a pick, and it's mostly for the majority of the 4 years. For me, it's probably Dolph Ziggler. They've had him go like up and down. Like he had sort of an interesting start to the brand warfare. Where he got a title shot, a world title shot, and then sort of went to the Intercontinental and had really an underrated feud with Miz. But like other times where he's been barely on the show, or literally putting another guy over, or in a feud that really just wasn't clicking, or just was booked sort of off. For me, I think if he really, truly motivated and he has everything behind him, I think he could be up there with one of the best of all time. Especially in the ring.
He's one of the best right now, I think, anyway, right?
Yeah.
Right now.
And in that aspect, that's where you can sort of get the most perfect comparison. Did all of his stuff hit probably more than Dolph, but like you get to perfect in WCW and it sort of flounders from there. Mm-hmm. But when the light was on and he was told he had this big opportunity, he nailed it almost every time. And for Dolph, it's been up and down, and not necessarily have always continued with his directional push.
So like I said, for the sake of simplicity, I made the call point the night of WrestleMania 30, so April 7, 2014. The night before was a change in the guard for the company, and the Monday Night Raw that came the night after was a pretty big show with names being announced. It's as easy as appointed stars than anywhere else. And the following 4 names are in no specific order. You went the underrated route, I went with the miscast and misused route.
Okay.
Dolph was always rated at some point by the company.
That's true.
You know, I do think he's still the most underrated wrestler in the company, but still, he's rated now.
Yeah.
Misused, number 1, Jinder Mahal. Well, not number 1. 4, no, or Jinder Mahal. As you might notice, I do not get why WWE stuck with Mahal for so long. I understand the concept, and listen, it's unfair to talk about Jinder on the 1-year anniversary of the podcast. I understand the concept of trying to tap into the indie market, but he does. It just does not work. Some people try to claim that Mahal was actually a good heel, and didn't somewhere with the character, but I certainly didn't say it. Now that it's current, I did see someone who was clearly trying, as hard as he could, and has sculpted his body into a very impressive physique.
Yeah, I'll give him credit. It did seem like he was really trying his best at what he was doing. Now, you can't say that about everybody, but you can say that about him. I'll give him that compliment.
Mahal was making an effort, and that's an important step. The problem, though, is he, as the WWE champion, And I stuck a little bit more at a top name on the show than Irish. Other than the match where he lost the title to AJ, I don't remember the whole ever being anything above Irish. He has some passable matches, but some of his efforts were just downright atrocious during that time, including the Punjabi prison match in particular. I did more out of world champion than Irish, and I never got that on the whole. So, who was, in my mind, he was misused for his role. Rusev. If this was 1987, Rusev would have been one of the top challengers to face Hulk Hogan for the WWE title, and every house show you can imagine.
Yes.
He has a great look. He can talk. He's an athletic freak, and he's had two different managers / lackeys, both of whom he has great chemistry with. Aiden English and Lana. Being his wife has something to do with that in the last case. That for some reason we're coming up this Sunday on Rusev's first singles world title match. Aside from challenging for the title in the 2016 Royal Rumble, Rusev has never had a world title match on pay-per-view. How in the world do you have someone that power and that skill and never give him a chance? Not even in a token 4-way or something like that. It's not like Rusev is a hard character to push. It never happened once. That's ridiculous on so many levels. Revival. Maybe it's just me being a big Revival fan, but this team's booking baffles me. I did get some hope on Raw. They're the most successful and quite possibly the best NXT tag team of all time.
Yeah.
And now I'm breathing a sigh of relief when they're not getting squashed by a friend together tag team who don't like each other. Revival's so much better than that, but for some reason they were barely able to get any time on it or every single week. The problem here is Revival wasn't set for the main roster after all of their NXT success. They were set as a team of wrestlers matches and worked on body part, instead of running out to having their matches as fast as they can. Yeah. For some reason, we get to see Revival every now and then for the sake of putting them for a part of the team. Interesting to do so well, I've seen know exactly how good they could be. It's so frustrating watching me put out there in this role that any low-level team could be. I almost had this as an Ascension instead. But since the Revival being used the same way, the Revival's overall more talented. That's why I had it. But you can say the same thing for the Ascension too, from NXT. You could literally copy and paste Ascension's name into Revival. The Revival becomes success overall. And my last one, Roman Reigns. The keyword here is misused, and that's where Reigns comes in. If you don't understand that Reigns is talented, I don't know how to help you. Reigns is an incredibly talented wrestler and someone who can win some matches. The Shield connection gives him some instant popularity, and he belongs at or near the top of the card. Just watch his performances and you should be able to understand that. The problem is how hard he's been pushed and the character he's pushed as. For some reason, WWE thinks that Reigns is this generation's Hulk Hogan, and that just doesn't work. When that was a failure, WWE tried to push him as Daniel Bryan. But a 6'3", 270-pound former college football star from one of the most famous wrestling families ever didn't quite fit as an underdog.
No. It still doesn't.
Now Reigns is just a guy who's always on top, and that's not working by any real standard. It's not the right fit for him, and never will be. So, there you go. They're the four most misused guys in the last 4 years. 3 incredibly talented, and one's in gender.
Yeah.
Well, I felt bad for Jinder. He was misused. They threw him out to the wolves when he should just been enhancement talent.
Yeah.
That's misuse.
But he got that hard body.
Well, that's good. He could be hard body in the hole somewhere else.
And he said yes to being clotheslined by Gronk.
That was his role. 2 weeks later, he's double contender.
Yeah.
For the WWE Championship. 3 weeks later, he's double contender for the WWE Championship.
And he eliminates Sami Zayn.
Right, so that's my point. Rusev, this push came a lot faster in the last 4 years. And the Revival, obviously, and Roman's the controversial one. People are going to argue he's not being misused or he's pushed hard. He's being misused because the way they're pushing him hard.
Yeah.
If I had a guy look like Roman, I would probably push him too, but I won't push him that stupid. Eventually, I will give into the face.
Eventually, okay, whatever I do is not working.
Right, yeah.
So why don't I try something different?
Yeah.
Just Like, think of it in a different light. What am I seeing that the fans aren't seeing, and what are the fans seeing that I'm not seeing?
Yeah. So that's what they come in. But the first edition, this was a rousing success, as I can tell.
It was a rousing success.
Yes.
While we're taping it.
Yes.
We're waiting for a round of applause right now, guys. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Isaiah.
Thank you. Thank you.
That's what I said.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
He's over there now, so I'm sure. For some reason, he's facing the steps.
Thank you.
Are you lonely?
Yeah, he's lonely. There's no one over there.
It's just ignorant. Him and Isaiah are having a difficult time right now with each other.
Yeah, apparently I deny his existence in this room.
You do. He's in the refrigerator. Or the freezer.
Yeah.
And I'm doing for this edition. We'll be back on Friday with our rules. I don't like to have our live XC reviews. And on Sunday with our 3 Balls of Fire Extreme Rules predictions on Friday night.
Yeah.
On Sunday with a 3 Balls of Fire. What were your 2017 because there's only one. 2017 throwback review. Monday night we're also bringing in the Monday Night War reviews.
Yes. We're start with a little bit more of a precursor. Since the debut episode of Nitro went uncontested, we're actually going to do the Raw from the week before that one.
Oh, okay, that's what we meant by precursor.
Yeah. So sort of a prologue to see, like, the most recent shows, the closest Raw we can get to the first episode of Nitro.
Okay.
And then just go from there.
That'll be on Sunday as well, and that's going to be a weekly thing. And also the Extreme Rules review Sunday night. Be up on the channel later.
Yes.
The pay-per-view around 2 o'clock. When the pay-per-view's over.
Yes.
I think I missed something, but I think I covered everything.
Yes.
I have a sketch of the logo.
Oh. I didn't know we had a sketch of the logo.
Yeah, I should probably told you that.
Yes.
That you're not important now.
Apparently not.
No.
I'm just the guy who sits here.
So we'll see you Friday.
Alright. See you then.
Bye.
Bye.